Salama family, salama. How y'all doing today? Hope you blessed, highly favored. Today we're gonna discuss with the family the whole thing about Black Jews. Is there even a debate? And the reason why I want to discuss this is because every time I turn around, so many people are acknowledging it. No one is really, other than that crazy Karaite guy, is really saying we're not the people. So, I think it's almost at the point that the whole world knows, they can't deny it. And, before we start the discussion, I want to read an article to you. I have two articles from the same site. For one of them, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but for the other, I will. So this is from Forward. This is a Jewish site, an Israeli site. And the article says, why is the pro-Israel right so threatened by Black Jews? One of the responses to the horrific massacre of 11 praying Jews this fall was a call for more firearms in synagogues, from Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams to New York State Assemblyman Dov Hilkind to President Trump himself. Many call for an increased presence of armed guards at Jewish places of worship. But not everyone supported this approach, which was met with some much needed pushback. As Bentley Addison argued in these pages, bringing police officers into synagogues was guaranteed to make them less safe for Black Jews and other Jews of color. So in this community of the Jewish people, they know there's Black Jews. See, it's the secular Gentile people who don't understand, right? The ones who have this hatred for Black people. In the aftermath of this horrific attack on our community, we must prioritize the safety of all Jews, wrote Addison. And the simple fact is, with police officers in synagogues, Black Jews and Jews of color won't feel safer at all. In fact, we'll feel and be less safe. Now, understand that in the Jewish community, anybody who converts to the religion of Judaism is considered Jewish. Okay, but let me continue. Addison's piece was a crucial corrective to a Jewish community that all too often overlooks, if not downright alienates, Black Jews. And his piece had a deep impact on the American Jewish community. It was widely shared, and people still mention it to me when the topic of how best to protect our communities comes up. But not everyone agreed. Addison's piece sparked a shocking backlash from the pro-Israel right on Twitter. The comments, many, but not all of which came from Israelis, range from questioning Addison's Jewishness to accusing him of endangering other Jews. It was horrifying. It was also par for the course. Spend a few minutes on Twitter, and it won't take you long to find both American and Israeli accounts routinely resorting to racist invective against American Black Jews. What could possibly explain this? Why is the pro-Israel right and its Twitter army so threatened by Black Jews? I believe, now listen to this, family, I believe it's because Black Jewish writers and leaders embody, quite literally, an alternative to a Jewish identity based in strictly policed in marriage and ethnicities. Though many black Jews are ethnically Jewish, listen, though many black Jews are ethnically Jewish, they admit we are ethnically Jewish, not religious Jews. Black Jews are ethnically Jewish. Their existence at the intersection of Jewish identity and Black identity creates an expansive vision of what Judaism is and what it means to identify as a Jew. It's a vision that departs both from the ethnocentric nationalist model of Jewishness that Israel is increasingly pursuing, but also from blind fealty to Israel that has replaced Jewish identity in America for the past 50 years. So let me continue, but look, listen what they're saying. Basically, because we're not pro-Israel, that's the problem. But ethnically speaking, we are black Jews. We are Jews ethnically. So my question is, if we are black Jews ethnically, then what are they? In offering an alternative model of Judaism based in intersecting identities and intersectional values, rather than policing ethnic boundaries and blind loyalty to Israel, black Jews and Jews of choice threaten the very model of Jewishness upon which the Jewish state is increasingly predicated. All right, so I'm going to stop there. That's at forward if you want to go read the rest of the article, right? So we're going to bring in, let's see, who we got here. Chadwick, you're going to have to enable your mic if you want to be a part of the conversation. So let me throw this out. I'm gonna get your opinion first, Sister Shay. What is your thought on that? Where now they're saying though ethnically black Jews, we're black Jews, right? Mm-hmm. Ethnically speaking. So if we're ethnically black Jews, what are they? What is your thoughts on that whole article?
My thoughts on that article is just proving the point of why they are so rich financially and why we are so rich spiritually and why we're under attack and why they're doing what they do. So that's exactly what that means to me. It shows that they know, and that's why they're treating us the way they are. That's why they're like Israeli news. I just watched him last night, and he was trying to talk about racial black issues, but then somehow led along to white persecution, so they just don't have, because they haven't accepted Christ, they don't have the Father in them. They're not being led down the right road. If you know that you're messing with the descendants, if you know that we're the Father's children, and you're still treating us in that same manner, it's not very smart. It's just not smart. So to me, they just don't make sense. And it's because they don't have Christ in them to make sense.
So racism is a hell of a drug, right?
It really is. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
Karis, what's your thoughts?
So shalom and salama. It's really interesting to see this article come out at a time that everything is happening. So we saw the Rabbi Ishak a couple of months ago trying to wordplay up Jews and things of that nature. And unfortunately, we're actually not Jews. We are Yahudims or Yahudim. That is the actual name because we are not converts. And really, if we see this article, my question is, when did this thing come on out? Because this may be a response to the Hidden Hebrews production that they had last week. And that production really delved into who we are as a people and what they did to systemically hide us and put us into the slave trade. So make no mistakes that when we're seeing these things, It's a campaign plan so they can say, well, see, all along, we knew that you were the people, but see, you were waking up. You didn't understand the cues that we were throwing on out there, because that's what they do. I mean, you got to
Now
understand.
this article
That's
is
why.
2019, just to let you know.
Oh, it's 2019. Okay, so they're throwing the breadcrumbs. They're throwing the breadcrumbs, but we already knew that. We're already waking on up, and really, we're going to start seeing them um, try to do more of the positioning, because they see what's coming. They know what's coming. So, their thing is, how can we position so we don't take such a great hit during this judgment season?
See, I also think that, and you make good points. I also think that, they have to admit it because, being ignored for over several years or whatever, I mean, you've had black Jews for a long time, but the recent awakening, started, what would you all say about 2015, 16, where it really started taking off?
Yes.
Yes,
And
yeah, around that time.
yeah, so now you have this huge awakening that's everybody was being quiet, and if we be quiet, maybe to go away, right? And it hasn't gone away, it has grown. And so now not only did you have the camps, right, who awoke, now you have the born again Israelites, you have the intellectual Negro awakening, right? You have the doctors and the lawyers and the scholars and everybody like that waking up now, identifying as Israel. So now we can't just say, oh, they're hateful, oh, they're uneducated, oh, they don't know what they're talking about, because the way we present ourselves as intellectuals, we present ourselves with information. So if you can't make it go away, what do? You have to try to attach. Oh, we're the same, right? So like remember the guy, I think you were talking about, Karis, I think it was Shapiro you was talking about.
Yeah, it's Shapiro, the
Yeah.
rabbi. Yeah.
And remember, he tries to make it like we're all the same, right? And that we just happen to be the dark side of the family and they're the light side of the family, right? And I guess too, you got a Chinese side, a Japanese side, and everything else side of the family as well, right? That's how they want to paint it, right? So now that it cannot be denied, now that we've awoken, right? Now they have to admit it, right? Because it continues to grow. It continues to, like I said yesterday, about Pharaoh. They tried to, Pharaoh tried to kill the Hebrew boys, but they kept reproducing, right? You can't stop a God move. See, that's what we try to tell the so-called apologists. If it is of God, then you will find yourself, as Nicodemus and them said, fighting against God. If it's not of God, then it will disappear, it will go away. But it is not going away. So now we have Jewish people, admitting that black people are ethnically Jewish. They say Jewish. As Kara said, we're really Yahudim, right? Or Yahudi, right? And so, when we talk about ethnically, okay, that means blood. That means we are the true descendants. Come on. I mean, let's not pussyfoot around it. That's not a bad word if you think it is. It's an old time word. Let's not do that. Let's understand when they say ethnically, that means they're not, because if we're ethnically Jews, then they cannot be ethnically Jews. Am I right or am I wrong? Sister Shay.
Well, you're right on about that. But I think what they are doing, they're saying it, quietly. What they don't want is for all the Caucasians to find out, to know that everything that we've been saying is true. That's what they don't want. So they'll say it just so they can say that, oh, yeah, we put the truth out there. We let you know what was going on. But I think they want to do it in a quiet way. I mean, they're not going to be able to stop it. They're not stopping it because there are some Caucasians that have awakened, and it's going to happen where they're going to realize who we really are, because the word states it and the word will not return void. So that's what I have to say about that.
So if they see us as black Jews, and if they see us as part of quote unquote the family, so to speak, then where were they doing slavery time? We know where they were doing slavery time. But let's just for
Earning money.
who are they earning money from? That's the question.
Mm-hmm.
Who are they earning money from off the back of the original
Mhm.
ethnic people who are the true Jews?
Yep.
Right now, some people are going to say, well, you all are hating. You're hating because what? So we're hating because we're saying we're the people. See, you can't say that you're the people and they're not, right? You can't say that because now you're hating, you're causing division. See, we're all God's people. That's what it comes back to. Then it comes back to there's no more Jew, Greek, slave, free, right? Because when you can't defeat the ethnicity, and when you got even Ashkenaz admitting that we're the people, then where do people like Vocab Malone, where do people like Nefertiti, where do people like Faithful to God come from denying who we are? Because now that the people who you believe to be the true Jews are admitting we are the Jews of the Bible, what does that mean now? I'm expecting an apology from Vocab. I'm expecting an apology from Nefertiti. I'm expecting an apology from Faithful to God, but we know we're not going to get it, right? We know we're not going to get it, but at the same time, is everybody crazy? So is the Ashkenaz crazy as well, admitting who we are? And it's more than one. See you, and it's more than two, and it's more than three, and it's more than four, it's more than five, it's more than six Ashkenaz. I can bring them up if you want to see them. So is everybody crazy? Now the question is this: now that we know who we are, and now they know who we are, what is required of the Ashkenaz? What is required of those who claim to be Jews, right? If we're ethnically Jews, what would you all think should be their next step? Karis.
Oh, you give me the hard ones.
Yay.
Well, you listen. I don't know what Revelations 3 and 9 states, and Joel 3 and 8. So you want I look at it like this, and I think I put this in my video earlier today with Covenant Awakenings. Look, we have the right to be the maddest people in the world. We do. We absolutely do. We have the right to be the most mean and vilest people because of what we've gone through. And you got to remember, we've gone through this because here's the thing: we are a spiritual people. We do things in the spirit. Naturally, we should never have survived slavery. If you think about that, naturally, we should never have survived the crack epidemic, even with all the abortions, even with all the divorces that was placed on our people. But see, you had to understand we're a different people. And so the first things first is, honestly, they just need to give us our money and
I
leave
agree.
us alone. And leave us alone. But you understand, see, the parasite needs a host. And see, we had to understand sin was a parasitic concept in the spiritual, and it made itself known in the natural. So as a people, we were just having a leech on our back, and we didn't understand that leech kept sucking us and sucking us and sucking us dry almost to death. And now that we've awakened, it's like, well, man, I feel something. I feel a lump. Is this a cancer? I need to go to a doctor. And we didn't have a doctor, so we prayed, hey, Lord, I need to find out what's happening to me. I need to know what the problem is. And then guess what? We started to get our spiritual chemotherapy. And now that leech, that cancer, is now metastasizing, it's showing itself, and now we're getting ready to operate. And that's a spiritual operation. And you see that they now have to actually admit who we are, because we are now tearing and pulling that thing off of our body. And we're saying, no, 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 no. We're not family here. We're not cousins here. We know where you come from. Genesis 10:3. We know who your people group is. Ezekiel 38. So we know what you are destined for, Obadiah 4:1. So we're not going to bring you along. We're just going to have the spiritual radiation and chemotherapy wipe you on out. And it's called hurricanes. It's called forest fires. It's called COVID-19. And if in my video earlier today, just to finish up this point, see, when Trump had lied, we already knew who the people were targeting. We already knew that. I made my little post last week about certain appendages in the males that this thing is having an adverse effect or reaction to. And so we understood even way back in March and April, this thing wasn't really it wasn't hitting us as much as they were trying to show up. But because there were some of us that were getting it, then we just got thrown to the forefront. And now, when Trump had admitted that he lied about the whole thing, guess what he did? He actually confirmed what we had been saying all along. So if you lied about how deadly this thing is, then you need to find out who's it actually targeting. And you see, that's where he left the door wide open, because now it's like the whole confetti cannon went on out and it's just blown up.
So, Karis, can you give specifics on the lie that Trump gave? Because some people don't know about it.
Okay. So, specifically, if you hadn't read or actually seen the articles in reference to Rage by Bob Woodward, okay? Bob Woodward was interviewing President Trump over, I believe, a course of 18 interviews within like 3 to 6 months. And during that time frame, he had actually spilled a lot of the beans in terms of what he thought about Black folks and George Floyd in the protest. And he says, he doesn't feel anything at all, which we already knew that. But he also had said that the virus, he and Xi, which is China's president, had talked. And he said, oh, it's really bad after speaking with President Xi. He was saying that the virus was not an ordinary virus. It was not an ordinary flu, and it was much, much dangerous. He was saying that we deal with about 1% of the deaths, or less than 1%, with 20 to 30,000 people dying from the regular flu. And that this virus would be about 5%. So it would be 5 times worse than what we deal with normally. And see, we see that because right now official numbers are 190,000 plus that have died from this virus. And so we have to actually see that when he lied about that, now the door is open. And see, they were used to operating in the lie. And now when you can't operate in the lie, you've lost your leverage. So now a whole lot of the backlash is going to be coming. And it's going to be coming from out of our communities. Because now it's okay, if you lied about the severity of the virus, then you need to be transparent about everything. How much is it affecting us? Is it even affecting us?
They lie about everything. See, that's nothing new. See, for us as Black people, we know they lie about everything. Now, we have a troll in the room. His, Frank Widow. He said, "Have black people ever built a functioning society?" I'm like, is that the racial statement of the year? I'm like, is something they always say. I cannot help you if you don't know African history. I cannot help you if you're so ignorant that you buy white propaganda, racist propaganda, right? I'm like, if y'all want to block him, you can, but I mean, that is ignorant. I mean, do y'all want to comment on that?
We built every society. So that's my comment. We built every society.
So here's the thing.
We built it.
They think that we're one type of people. Okay, well, if we are the Jews of the Bible, then you can read the Bible and get your history that black people build anything, right? And even if you thought we were Hamites, okay, we know for a fact that the Hamites built Egypt and other big societies. You ever heard of Meroe? I'm like, come on, let's stop with the old-fashioned white supremacy stuff that's been going on for centuries. It's been going on for centuries. Now, the question is this, and this for our white Gentile people who are here. Look, we cannot do all the work for you, right? We've done it. If you want knowledge, then you need to go watch the historical videos on who we are. If you want knowledge, you need to go read some other documents and books about the kingdoms of black people. You ever heard of the black pharaohs? Have you ever heard of all of these things? Look at the Ethiopian society, right? You all admit that the Ethiopians are Jews. What about their societies and the kingdoms they built? Come on, huh? Let's stop being stupid. Now, we got this question here. Should all people of color convert and move to Israel? Wait. Why in the heck we got to convert? We are the true people. You all are the converts. See, ethnically speaking, if you're new, if you just arrived to the channel, you will see that we just read where they Ashkenaz themselves. Go to Forward, right? Their site is not ours. It's our Ashkenaz site. Say that ethnically we are the true Jews. Ethnically we are. So why do we need to convert to go to Israel? I want to know that. That don't make no sense. See, that's stupid stuff. That's stupid stuff. And the reason why I'm flustered is because you all don't want to take the time to do the research. You don't want to do the research. And if you don't want to be here, if you don't like what we say, you don't have to listen. This is family business. Sister Shay, I'm sorry for interrupting. Go ahead. Okay, I guess she got out or dropped. But look, here's the thing. When it comes to evidence of black societies, all of the evidence is there. And it's not even black scholars who's saying this. It's white scholars. You just got to go before the 1900s because that's when they had to make sure that all the history sort of lined up with the fake Jews. So should we convert and go to Israel? No, because we are ethnically the people of the book. Any comments, Karis?
Well, I believe that we are definitely doing a good job of getting the message on out because obviously Google has allowed YouTube to push in these trolls. And, and that's fine because here's the thing. They can't provide us with anything that's historically factual. See, the funny thing is that a lot of these trolls never been to Egypt. They've never been to Egypt. And I've posted my photos of being in Egypt, being in that hot, humid environment that a lot of people do not ever want to go outside. They've never been to the Arabian Peninsula where it's hot and where I've had counterparts that were obviously of lighter complexion and they couldn't handle the sun. And so you understand that there's a natural protection that we actually are afforded us And that is something that sets us apart. They know that. See, for them, you have to understand it's easier to co opt a people by giving money and gifts to people to keep the lie going and to keep the lie coming. And unfortunately, they're realizing that that money was not necessarily going to last forever. And this is what you have right now. So you're seeing the you're seeing the actual result of their loss because I don't see anything factual. I can't see anything factual. And if you were to see that block that they would have to build those pyramids, man, you realize that was some supernatural strength. That was going to take some NFL linebacker strength to get those things on up there. And we do have some big boys up in our community. That's why you see a whole bunch of defensive end and defensive tackles that are melanated. But it also takes much more than that. It takes a perseverance, a supernatural perseverance. You ask them, when were they in slavery? They can't tell you. You ask them, when were they actually enslaved for over 400 years and brought over in the ships into an unknown part of the world? Was Europe an unknown part of the world? No. We knew about Europe. Jasher knows about Europe. And the problem is they know that they lost the narrative.
Exactly.
And so all they can do is come through and say, oh, they're doing Wakanda forever. Oh, we're joggers, all this terminology that we don't care about. Hey, listen, if it was me, I just hope that you're able to get good internet connection when you're typing from somewhere in Southern California as homes are burning. Or you're down in Louisiana hoping to get a check from FEMA it's not coming.
So look, I'm having a ball here. I blocked at least 3 or 4 trolls already. I'm like, I did not know we was gonna get this many trolls today, to be honest with you. And they keep saying, go back to Africa, go back to Africa. You know what they don't understand? We're going back to Africa. And you know who's gonna give us the money and the resources and the goods and the wealth to go back to Africa? You all are. You're going to finance our way back to Africa, every single one of us, right? And where we're going, you're going to miss us because you're going to have a meal without seasoning. You're going to have a country without light. Not only that, you're going to be invaded. You're going to be invaded by Russia, by China, by Iran. Oh, you don't believe me? Read your Bible. Read your Bible. It predicts what's going to happen to America. So yes, we're going back to Africa and you can't come with us. You can't come with us. Some of y'all will. My boy Rob, he coming with us. But see, Rob loves Israel. Rob loves Father Yah. But some of y'all just trolls, y'all hateful because you know it's true. See, it's one thing to say go back to Africa. It's another thing to say y'all not the people. See, you ain't say that. Because you know we the people.
Exactly.
And if we the people, what does that mean for you? What does that mean for you? God will bless those who bless Israel. If God gonna bless those who bless Israel, and we're Israel, and you're not blessing us, what does that mean for you? You're gonna be cursed. Sister Shay, any comments?
Well, I can say one thing is that they definitely, Yah wanted to invoke jealousy. He's definitely invoked jealousy. Definitely invoked jealousy. I just can't wait to see it all happen. I mean, it's happening now. I'm in Southern California. I'm in one of the places you're speaking of. I mean, a lot of things are going down here. This is where the cages are. This is where all the military equipment are. Children have already been taken out of the homes of families with COVID, So I would say what Yah had planned to invoke jealousy for us to be very, very sorry for serving other gods has definitely worked. Because, at this point, I see everything just coming to pass, everything coming to pass. And especially in the state I'm in, I'm not sure if it's like my state is going to be first because it is like coming down really hard out here. But one thing is for sure is that we are going to be saved. We're going to be saved out of it all, out of it all. So that's one thing that they can't say. That's one thing that all their money and all the gold and all the prominence, all their rabbis and all of them cannot say is that they will be saved from it all. So that's just a little comment I wanted to make.
So welcome, Sister Sheila. I have a question.
Shay.
So a lot of these trolls are here. They're saying we're anti-Semitic, we're racist. I have a question. What did we say that was racist other than the fact that we're the true people? And we read it from their own websites, from the Jewish website, the Ashkenaz website, that say ethnically we are the Jews. I'm sorry. What did we say that's anti-Semitic, that is racist or anything? I don't get it.
Yeah, it's just their defense mechanism. It's the only thing that can be said because there is no one hating but everyone else. We're not the haters. We're the ones that after you shoot someone, our parents come out and say, we forgive you. You know, it's like, we're not the haters. We're the ones that are spreading love. You know, we're the ones that are forgiving. We're the ones with Christ in our heart. You know, we're not against anything. There's nothing wrong with being for yourselves and for your people who have been abused, used, lied to, led astray. We can go down the list. You know, there's nothing wrong with defending yourself and for speaking the truth of Yah's word. There's nothing wrong with that. And calling that anti-Semitic is just a defense mechanism. It's just the only thing an unintelligent person can think of first.
Sister Sheila, welcome aboard. How are you doing today?
Hey, salama, y'all. I'm doing good. Peace and
Salama.
blessings.
Welcome back. Welcome back. What you think of all these trolls?
I started not to come on here because they got my blood boiling a little bit. Woo, help me, Father. Okay, if I can just back up just a bit, let me tell you something. We'll go back to Africa when the Most High tells us to. And he's going to deliver his people. So that's one thing. We're going back to Africa. We are going back when he tells us we're under his command, unlike you trolls. Second of all, what societies have we built? We built them and we could still have them had your ancestors not ran rockshod on us and ran us out, raped us, beat us, burned us out, killed us, lynched us. We could have been left alone and still thriving in those very communities and societies had your ancestors left us alone. Second of all, we love our people. And every time we speak up for one another, every time we say something positive, they're so used to the division that they cause between us that when they see us joining together, they are terrified of it. They're terrified of it. And so that's what I think about these trolls. They're just terrified because we're coming together. Like we all say and all know, these dry bones are coming together. The Most High is working in our favor. It's going to happen. It's already done. And they're just mad about it. Okay, I'm fine. Okay.
So I have another article I want to read. I'm going to just have to say this is the first time it's ever happened to me. I must be doing a good job. So let me share a screen. Sister E used to say, well, Yakoba, they don't come and mess with you. They don't mess on your channel. You know, I'm like, now they are, right? So let me share another article. Okay. The title of this article is Black Jews Gain Wider Acceptance. And I'm not going to read the whole thing. Let's see. Well, maybe I should. I'll read the whole thing. Well, not the whole thing, but a lot of it. The ordination took place on sun-drenched Sabbath in a synagogue used by many decades ago by Lithuanian Jews. But on June 23rd, it was 200 mostly Black worshipers, many in brightly colored African dress, who were on their feet, eyes fixed on a procession of 8 white-robed rabbis with ceremonial meters crowning their heads as they strode single file down the aisle, separating the men's and women's eating. All were gathered at Bet Shalom Benai Zakin Ethiopian Hebrew congregation to create a new rabbi for this small, passionate, but scarcely known tradition of Black Judaism. Though it was mid-afternoon and the morning, whatever that word is, Shakarit service was long finished, very few had left the sanctuary. The ordination of the new rabbi was the big event. As a delegation of Black Jews visiting from New York for the important occasion looked on, the rabbis mounted the bema and with the open ark as a backdrop arranged themselves into a half circle and faced the congregation. For many mainstream Jews, this is a ceremony that might seem alien. But today, the differences between them and these Black Jews who have long been ignored or dismissed as inauthentic by the Jewish establishment seems more like one of culture and ethnicity than Jewish identity. Listen to that. Listen, let me read this again. For many mainstream Jews, this is a ceremony that might seem alien, but today the differences between them and these Black Jews who have long been ignored or dismissed as inauthentic by the Jewish establishment seems more like one of culture and ethnicity than Jewish identity. See, remember before they said that the Black Jews are Jews ethnically, okay? While they once called themselves Hebrew Israelites exclusively to distinguish themselves from Jews of European extraction, the Black Jews now readily count themselves among the Jewish people without qualification. An increasing number seek out formal conversion, a practice previously seen only as a concession to the expectations of mainstream Jews. Some 85% of the members of Bet Shalom have done so, according to Rabbi Capers Fournier, their spiritual leader, who is himself a member of the mainstream Chicago Board of Rabbis and cousin to First Lady Michelle Obama. Today, a cadre of teens and young adults have graduated from yeshivas and Jewish day schools, creating educational parity and a shared frame of reference with the wider Jewish community. And last year, Israel ambassador to Washington, Michael Oren, paid an unprecedented visit to a Black synagogue, Temple Bethel in Philadelphia, and told them, "We are a single people endowed with the same blessings and obligations. Israel belongs to us all." See, what people don't realize is that behind the scenes, there's a coming together, even though we're not the same people, there's a coming together of the white Jews and the Black Jews. There's an identification of Blacks being Jews, even Black, what you call African Americans. Back in Chicago, the man for whom the ordination ceremony was intended was last in line to mount the bema. Wearing a knit skull cap, James Brazelton ascended and knelt in front of the ark. A fit and youthful 62-year-old Vietnam War veteran with a broad smile, Brazelton was raised as a Baptist, became a Hebrew Israelite in the early 70s, and was converted by a conservative den or religious court. Now, a lot of Black folks have decided to convert to Judaism because they have no idea what their traditional African Judaism is, right? So they want to be accepted by the white Jews so that some of them can go to Israel. Okay, so I'm gonna skip down here a bit and read from here on. Over several decades, a dozen or so Matthew-inspired synagogues sprouted up in Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, and Harlem. Matthew taught that Hebrew Israelites had no need to conform to the conversion requirements of mainstream white denominations, nor did he himself seek simcha, formal rabbinic ordination via an established rabbi or rabbinic panel, to function as a rabbi. Matthew avowed that all of this was unnecessary because the roots of Black identity reached back to the Israelites of the Torah. Listen to that. Listen to that, my Gentile friends. Listen to that. You people who have a problem with skin color. Matthew avowed that all this established rabbi or rabbinic panel to function as a, I'm sorry, I'm skipping. Matthew avowed that all of this was unnecessary because the roots of Black identity reached back to the Israelites of the Torah. The Black identity reached back to the Torah. Jews even today view themselves as having returned to their true identity, which was obliterated by the catastrophic Middle Passage into slavery, where millions of Africans were torn from their homeland and dispersed, effectively erasing their history, culture, and family ties. Understand what he just said. That the roots of the Black Jews is in the Torah. Not only that, the reason why they don't know who they are is because of slavery, which includes the African American as being Jews. Understand what he just said. So, did we build anything? Yes, because we're the Jews of the Bible. Read your Bible. You want to know our history is there? You heard of King David, didn't you? Or Dawid. You heard of King Solomon, right? What did they build? As if echoing history, Black Jews in the U.S. today feel connection to African groups who identify as Jews. Fournier has traveled to Nigeria, South Africa, Uganda to connect with and assist in the education of the Limba, Igbo, Abayuda, well, I'm sure I mispronounced that, ethnic groups with members who assert a Jewish identity. A bridge builder, Fournier is associate director of Beko Lachon in Every Tongue, a San Francisco-based nonprofit that advocates for inclusiveness and diversity among the Jewish people and sponsors his work in Africa. Yahed, the movement's newest cleric, began studying Hebrew and attending Sabbath services in the early 70s. When I returned from Vietnam in 72, he told the forward, I knew Christianity didn't satisfy me. I was searching spiritually until a friend talked to me about the idea that Black people in America were connected to the Israelites in the Torah. That was the beginning. I'm going to stop there. So over and over and over and over and over again, we have proven that we are the true Israelites of the Bible, ethnically. Not through conversion, not through any ceremony. We are the direct descendants of King David. And if you want to get into the specifics of it, we are of the royal priesthood, the royal house of King David. If you want to go and do your research, you will find what happened to the Jews, over 800,000 of them kicked out of Spain and Portugal, sent into Angola, sent into West Africa, sent to the Americas, sent to the Caribbean. I can't help it if some of you all are deaf, dumb, and blind. Don't open a book if it kills you, especially if a book tells the history of Black folks. Any comment, fam? Asaph, welcome aboard. Any comment? Can y'all hear me?
No, I hear you. I hear you. This is Karis. You know, the more that everything comes on out, it's harder for them to really deny what's happening. And again, their denial.
Well, welcome, brothers. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you. So Asaph, I'm gonna let Karis finish his point, and then you can talk after. Okay?
Anytime. Go ahead, brother Karis.
Yeah, so when we see these articles and they're actually mentioning these tribes, Yoruba, Igbos, these are our tribes, but we got to understand we mixed with them. We came through in different parts of the world. We were wanderers. We now actually have edicts from the Iberian kingdoms of Portugal and Spain that showed how we were shipped off through the Spanish Inquisition. And then about 100 years later, they came and they got us to take us into the quote unquote new world. So all this stuff, it makes sense. It's just that now that it makes too much sense, they're hating the fact that the cat is out the bag. You see what I'm saying? And it's almost, and that demonic hatred, it's a demonic hatred that they can't really look through and see the truth. They have to, create their own narrative, but they're not understanding their narrative isn't working because the world is actually sinking all around them. And again, it's great to see how Trump is actually showing that when you lie about a narrative, the lie is still the lie. But guess who has the last word? The Most High does.
So, ASF, welcome, my brother. Welcome back on Table Ministries.
Welcome from the United Kingdom. It's a pleasure to be on again. What question would you like me to comment on, my brother?
So, how do you feel about the fact that, according to these articles, that ethnically, according to Ashkenazi websites, that ethnically blacks are ethnically Jews, right? And according to Forward, which is the Ashkenazi site, right, that we are the original Jews. That's pretty much what they said. What would you tell to the trolls who coming around here who say that black folks never built anything? And what have they built? What would you have to say?
What I have to say to them is that look at the evidence and see. The articles speak for themselves, and there are innumerable publications which were masked. But now that we have been saying it, and we have been debating the people openly, Jews are acknowledging it. I live in a predominantly Jewish area in London, and in Stamford Hill. I'm giving away where I am now. And a lot of the Jews are saying it. Some of them are saying it to me privately, that they know that we're Yehuda.
So let me ask you this question, Asaph. So if we are, and they know that we are the true Jews, we are the Yehudim, right? What do you think is required of them? What would you think should be required of them?
Well, what they need to do now is start talking to their leaders, because a lot of money has been spent and organizations have been set up to gaslight the public as to who is the legitimate people, when it's widespread now that we are the people, and it can't be hidden no more. These 400 years have actually put a seal on where we go from here, and the prophecies are there for themselves. There was an earthquake over here which was 3.9 in the southeast, and everybody's up in consternation now, knowing that the time is up. That's why everyone's going crazy worldwide. Go ahead.
So, Rob Callahan, are you out there? Are you listening? Brother Rob, if you could come on, click on that link I sent to the Patreon group. I'd like to get your input on all of this. So now that we know that, and the world knows who we are, now the thing we have to understand is, because we're awakening, we will get pushback because we're awakening, and we know it's time to leave, just as I showed in the teaching yesterday, that they really don't want us to leave. They're telling us to go back to Africa, but we know they don't want us to leave. Just like Pharaoh said, they might leave the country. See, they don't want us to leave, because if we leave, the blessings come with us. See, when we were in Egypt, Egypt became a world power. We in America, America became a world power. That's why most of the Israelites are mostly in Western nations. I mean, we're global, but mostly in Western nations. Who controls the world? Who controls the world? That's what I want to know. We know who controls the world. Brother Rob, welcome. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Cool. How y'all doing?
Hey, Rob, how's it going? Good to have you, brother.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
So
I wanted to put my camera on to make sure all the trolls can see my face.
Good job, Rob. Good job.
There you go, Rob.
We love you, bro.
Yeah, we love Rob. Rob has a great spirit. He loved the Lord. He loved Israel. That's our brother.
Y'all are my
Rob,
family, and I love you guys.
what was your thoughts? You saw what was happening in the chat group. What's your thoughts? What do you have to say to them? You know, they say blacks, what did they build? And they tell us to go back to Africa. What do you have to say to that?
Well, first I saw a couple comments that said so everybody should convert and go to Israel. And first of all, I don't think anybody wants to go to that land that they call Israel, that old deserted, you know, just desolate place. The real land, pretty sure everybody understands, is in Africa. You know, that's the richest part of the entire world. So I mean, what I have to tell them is just read the scripture. I mean, if you truly, a lot of these people are, you know, they claim to love Jesus, and you know, these Eurocentric Christians, and you know, they love their church on Easter Sunday and or even on Sunday mornings, you know, and that's about it. But if you actually dig into the word, and if you love the truth, and if you really love Yah truly with a sincere heart, and you seek him with a sincere heart, then you'll let it go of all the hatred or whatever feelings that are keeping you from understanding. Because once you read it, it's like the prophecies, everything just jumps out. It makes total sense. And as somebody that, just like most of Israel, we were all in that doctrine. That's the thing, is most of the people that are awakened to who true Israel is once was under the same doctrine that these trolls are under, you know, that had this, was under the same spell. And when you're under that spell, that curse of the Eurocentric doctrine, this book makes no sense. It's like it's the, yeah, there's some stories, but the whole thing doesn't weave together and from creation to present time the way it does when you understand that the blacks, the Negroes, the descendants of slaves are the true people from Deuteronomy 28:68 and every other part. But Deuteronomy 28:68 is a good starting point, but every other prophecy in the book is met by the Negroes. So if you truly love the truth and you understand and you truly love Yah, you'll at least consider that thought and read it with that lens. And when you do, I challenge you to do it, because when you do, the truth will come to you, and it's a beautiful thing. Because here's the thing, most Israelites, at least that I encounter, yeah, I know there's you know, there's one or two people to every couple hundred that have the thing differently or whatever. But for the most part, if you love Yah and you love Israel and you bless Israel, well, 100%, if you bless Israel, the true Israel, you will be blessed. But what I'm saying is, you'll be blessed by Israel. Israel will welcome you with open arms, and because we all love Yah. That's the thing, you know. It's, I don't know. Maybe I'm rambling here, but that's, I get passionate with, especially with these trolls. You know, they anybody that wants to come against and debate this, I feel like it's not even a debate anymore, because the facts are facts.
And that's what I say. I mean, really, it's not even debatable anymore, right? Which is why every time you hear someone, you know, say something, it's like, go back to Africa, or they say there's no more Jew Greek. But when it comes to who we are, it's not debatable, right? Because they, you know, you would know right now they will be putting up all of the tickets, right, to prove that we're not who we say we are, right? But they can't do it because there's too much evidence that we are the people. So my question to you, Rob, and I know you can't speak for everyone, do you think that most of the Gentiles care for the truth? Do you think they really love Yeshua? Do you think they care about what the Bible says, other than the fact that they want to be blessed? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because what I'm seeing is I'm seeing people who don't really care for the truth. What's your thoughts on that?
I think they do, but for the most part, they care for the truth but they care for the current power structure more. You know what I mean? Or they care about their ego more. They care up to the truth up until the point that, oh, wait a second, I'm not on top, or I'm not, you know, I have to be subordinate or submissive or whatever. Your ego, it's a humbling experience, probably for them, and so some people can't humble themselves.
So one guy came in and said, "White lives matter." Did anybody say it didn't? You
Right.
see, why does it have to get see that's what I keep telling people. Like I get, comments from some white listeners, and they be like, well, Tail, you're racist, right? And so then they say X, Y, and Z, because you're saying black and all of this, and it's all lives and God loves everybody. Okay, well, we know God loves everybody and all lives do matter. The problem why black lives matter is because black lives are being killed. So to me, that says, well, you devalue black lives because you want to take the focus off the fact that blacks are being killed, being murdered in the streets. But yet, have you seen us rise up yet? I mean, right now, even if you look at the protests, the ones who burning buildings, tearing down everything are white people, and this could be for anybody who wants to answer, why can they not see this, that basically something's wrong? Because the message that's being shown or given to the world is that black people's causing all of this because it's the Black Lives Matter movement. When everybody in every film, every picture that's being shown is white people burning buildings, tearing down things, and breaking into stores. I'm not saying a few black folks don't get in there with it. I mean, breaking into stores and stealing, but who's not going to do that? Who's not saved? So this is to the family, anybody, on the panel, what do you say to people who got this thing about us saying we're Israel and trying to say that we're racist when they're the ones telling us go back to Africa and they're the ones not even looking at the evidence?
It's like you said before, it's classic gaslighting.
Exactly.
That it's the oppressor saying it's your fault. And then the whole thing about saying white lives matter or whatever, it's like throwing a life preserver to somebody that's already on the boat. Dude, you don't need it. We don't. Yeah, you matter, but there's people drowning right now that need the life preserver. So yeah, I don't want to keep taking all the top time.
So
it's simply sorry, Jacoba. It is simply death and destruction by ignorance. And they have a willful ignorance to not try to understand the truth. And the funny thing is that the truth shall set you free. And unfortunately, you got to understand, they literally took the yoke, the spiritual yoke literally came off of us, and it's going right on them. And they're not understanding when that spiritual yoke happens, there's a natural destruction that follows. And see, we can understand how everything is shaping up because we see it. We talk about it. We do programs and broadcasts on it. And for them, it's, well, you all are hating. You all don't like America. Listen. You give them a simple question. Does America like black people? Well, okay. Does America like black people? We love black people. Okay. That's just like saying that you are an abusive husband. I love my wife. I beat her every night. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense. That's not love. That's actually called hate. That's actually called you hate us, but you don't understand it because you literally threw that spiritual yoke on you. So now that yoke, that was our blindness. And now we're no longer blind. And now they're getting blind because they can't understand how this world is shaping up. And I said this in my one broadcast a couple days ago. Look at the stock market right now. China already said we're divesting. Now they're going crazy. Oh my gosh, China said we're divesting. Oh my goodness, they're going crazy. So just think about when they start to move funds, you realize after they move their money away, they'll keep some money in there just to kind of, not remove everything. But then it's quickly something that goes into warfare. And then you saw that China has been buzzing Taiwan for the last 2 days. They don't care. Taiwan and the South China Sea. And we also know that China's like, look, we're this is ours. This is our kingdom. This is what we're promised. We know who we are. We know this beast kingdom. We know where we're setting at in this dragon. So we're going to take on over. But they're not understanding that once they kind of release us, they're releasing the lion. You see what I'm saying? So the lion is coming on out of its thicket. The lion is coming on out of its cage. And that's what they're not understanding. They're just thinking, okay, Russia and China and whoever wants to align with them, they're going to be great. They're not understanding, oh, no. There's a people that you've released from out of captivity because the Most High has allowed you to be his instrument without even knowing it.
Do y'all remember the parable in the scripture where the king sent his son, sent all these prophets, but then the king also sent his son. And, they beat and killed the prophets. Then he sent his son, and then they killed his son. And God says, what do you think gonna happen when the king find out what you did to his son? Right now, you can imagine what you would do if something happened to your son. Now, my question is this: what do you all think is going to happen to Gentiles who are complicit in the killing of his children? So now that you know that the black people, the ones who were enslaved globally, right, are the true Yahudim, now that you know that we are the chosen of God, we are royalty, literally. Now that you know that his son, which was the prince, let's say in the parable, you all killed the prince. Now you're killing the other children of his family. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is being set up for you all? See, I'm going to tell you this. Sometimes I think we're too nice. I do. And I'm complicit in that too. I mean, some people think I'm mean, but I mean, in reality, I'm trying to save souls and save lives. And when I tell you, Gentiles, when I tell you that judgment is at the door, when I tell you that you are surrounded, you don't know it, by Russia, China, Iran, all your enemies and enemies within your own house, you are going to be destroyed. And you think there's a pre-trib rapture that's going to save you, and because you call on Jesus that you're going to be saved while you're killing his people, while you're murdering his people, while you're hating his people, you're complicit. Anybody have a comment? What do you think? Do you think we're too nice?
I think so. I think so. The Isaiah 14:21. I'm not going to say quote it out word for word. Says what's coming, and we know what's coming is not nice because the punishment is going to be a generational one.
So we know for a fact that what your future is not what they've been telling you. It's not what they've been telling you. So we've been warning you, right? And Rob's been warning you, but you all don't listen. And I'm sorry who was about to comment, but go ahead.
I was saying that Isaiah 14:21 points out exactly what's going to happen to them. There's an old saying, what goes around comes around, and that's exactly what's going to happen. What they did to us, they will reap. Galatians 6:7-8 says, whatsoever a man sows, he will reap.
So according to the book of Revelation, Asaph, it says that they're going to reap double. Can you imagine reaping double of what we went through?
It's unthinkable and unbearable. I feel pity and sorrow for them, but that's not my word. It's the Most High's word.
So when it comes to us,
a
right,
lot of people have been having dreams about being taken by the Chinese and by Russian. A lot of Caucasians have had nightmares and visions about that currently. Like, it's all over YouTube. So
I've seen
they
that
see
as
what's
well.
coming ahead.
Exactly.
They may not know it completely, but
and it's at the door. It's at the door, Sister Shay. It's at the door. And what they're saying is I don't know about the ones you saw, and you can tell me. Aren't they talking about not only them being taken over, but many of them being killed and put in the prisons? Did you see that those dreams that they had, Sister Shay? You still there? So anyway, so Rob, what would you say to your Gentile people about what you see coming prophetically speaking? Because a lot of time they're not going to listen to us, right? Tell them what you have learned since you've been studying the word and what God has shown you about the times we're in and how close we are to judgment on this nation.
And yeah, what I've learned, and this is why it's important. And I've got some videos on my channel as well about this, but it's important to know who the people are. It's not a race thing. It never was. It's mostly the people that whitewashed the scriptures that made it into race. It's about truth, and it's about understanding what's coming down the pipeline. That's another thing, is coming into this awakening. We see the world falling apart. When I say we, I mean everybody who's awakened to who the true Israelites are and to the prophecies that are coming. Almost everybody sees the world falling apart, right? Even the people that are under any other doctrine, most of them can at least see the downward spiral that the world is going into, but they don't really have any explanation except, oh, it's the economy, or some even will say, oh, it's a new world order, which, you know, they're right as well, in that sense as well. But anybody who Israelites and who's awakened to who the Israelites are, we understand that this is biblical prophecy, and the way we prepare is not necessarily through being doomsday preppers for, you know, stocking up food and water. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing to do. I'm just saying the most important thing to do is preparing spiritually, getting right with Yah, being obedient to the word of Yah. And we're not worried about, I mean, at least I'm not, and a lot of people that I talk to, we're not really so much worried about the things that are coming, the judgment that's coming, because we're prepared and we feel that we're walking with Yah, and we understand the prophecies. The prophecies are that, first of all, those that bless Israel, that cleave to the house of Jacob, will be blessed as well. And I believe that also translates to this, because we know that some foreigners or non-Israelites, Gentiles that are grafted in, will go as well. So if you trying to explain this to people who are in denial, but if you're not right with Yah, and you understand what's coming down the pipeline, there's no preparation that you can do. That you can have a place in the mountain, a bunker in the mountain. You can have 5 years of food stocked up and have water and everything you can need, but you can't escape judgment. You can't escape judgment of Yah. And to answer your question, what do I see coming is judgment to the nations that afflicted Israel. And what that can translate to, I mean, we look at Revelation 11 and 12, I think, or I'm sorry, 11, 12, and 13, and it can be translated a bunch of different ways. But one thing for sure is the woman is Israel. The woman is going to go to the wilderness. The dragon is going to persecute the woman. The woman's going to escape the dragon. And then the beast forms. I mean, the timeline and the of events and things like that can be debated or translated or different ways. But the way I see it is the beasts represent an alignment of countries. Which countries can be debated as well. I definitely think for sure China and Russia and Iran are represented, as well as the 10 WEU countries, Europe alliance with Russia, China, and Iran. And it's going to be the destruction of Babylon. And America is, if you understand that America is Babylon, and is also the whore, and is also spiritual Egypt, you can understand where America lies in those prophecies. And because everybody wants to know, the ultimate question is, where do I stand when all this happens? And you can kind of see where you stand. You know, if you look through that lens and where you are with Yah, and if you've been blessing his people, because all this time when people think that the other nation, the other country is Israel, they're all forcing the billions and billions of dollars there, and yeah, let's bless Israel. But now all of a sudden, like you say all the time, Minister Jacoba, when now that it's the Negroes, oh, now it doesn't matter. You know, so where was that way of thinking? Where is that way of thinking now that you had before? You know, so
it's like I said, racism is a hell of a drug.
Yep.
Because even if you know that we're the people and you know Christ was black, you know, they still hate us, right? They still don't listen. They still rebellious. Now, we know what happened in the scriptures to Pharaoh. Pharaoh's heart was hardened. And that's literally what I'm seeing for most of the white community in America. I don't know about the other countries. Asaph, what do you see in the UK in terms of the white people there who may be waking up? I mean, are they like, you know, 95% hardened hearts? What's your thoughts?
I would say that they're 95% hardened hearts. It's only a handful, like Brother Rob, that's coming through. You know, and the scripture points out in Isaiah 14:1 that people like Brother Rob will have the same rights and same proportion of Baraka coming to them as us. So we live in hope. You know, those that don't want to believe, that's their problem. You know, we have Brother Rob and many of those that will be going home with us as Judah and joined to us as our extended family. You can go ahead now, Brother Jacoba.
So there's, you know, when after COVID, you know, happened, you know, a lot of people were like, man, you know, y'all lucky because, you know, y'all sold y'all house and stuff. Y'all got out just in time, man. Y'all were real lucky. I'm like, no, I wasn't lucky because I knew it was coming. I didn't know it was going to be COVID, but I knew I had to sell my house before then, you know. Now, the other thing is I wasn't feeling too great, so it all worked out. I'm like, you know, let me sell it, you know, let me go back home because I knew it was coming. As I would always tell the family, I say, family, all I could do is tell you what I see. I'm seeing all these signs. They're coming together. They're coming together. I don't know what to tell you. I see all the signs. So I had to move based upon what I knew and what I felt God was leading me to, right? So people who don't know and who don't have eyes to see and ears to hear, they'll say, well, you were just lucky, right? No, I wasn't lucky. No, I knew what was happening. God showed me what was happening. And if you go and watch our prophecy videos, you will see that we predicted most of these things, not to the T, like a virus. I don't know how many people would have. We knew a pandemic. We knew that. We knew the judgments was here. We knew the judgments were happening, right? And the fact that you see locusts and blood waters and chaos in the streets globally and fires all in California and around the world and in Iran and wars, rumors of wars, and the ethnic group tension, the racial tension, which was predicted in Matthew 24. How can you see all these things and not know that we are in the biblical prophetic judgment period that Christ spoke about? How can you not know? Now, I know some of you all say, well, yeah, I see it. But you're waiting for the rapture. You're waiting to be taken out while the rest of the world and unbelievers get judged. That's not what the Bible teaches. You are lied to. There is no pre-trib rapture. So when you tell us to go back to Africa, you're going to want to come with us, but you won't be able to come. See, watch what you say.
That's the irony of it, right? That's kind of ironic.
It is. You know, it's sort of like, let us build that wall that Trump wanted. And I always say, you know, that wall is going to be to keep them in. And they're going to want to leave and go into Mexico. And the Mexicans are going to say, no, you can't come in here. And now what's happening? You can't go anywhere. There's certain border crossings in Mexico. They say you can't come in here because of COVID. See, I always said that you're building a trap for yourself. See, you're trying to keep Mexicans out when really you're building your own cage to keep you in. So the elite knew what was going to happen. Now you're trapped. Now you can't easily take that passport and get out of here. It's not that easy anymore. Now you got to have a pass that you're COVID free, and then they're going to have certificates. And if you then they plan on trying to get you vaccinated and chipped. But you want us to go back to Africa. Do you think we want to stay here? Literally. Who wants to stay here seeing what's coming? That's what I want to know. Family. Sister Sheila, based upon what you see happening in America, do you want to stay here?
No, I am so ready to go. No, not at all. It's happening. Me and my sister was talking about this last night. We are both like, we are so ready to go. The signs are here. I mean, they're just here. I hate to keep beating a dead horse, but they're here. And I'm ready to go. And people should really take note and understand, the word of the Most High says, even in the Apocrypha books, how sorry people are going to be when they really see what's going down and how it's going to fall out. And that you're not going to be a part of this. And then it's going to be too late. And how they're going to just like waste away with, grief, because they're going to see and be like, the very ones we dogged out, the very ones we counted as nothing, them, yep, us, and we out of here.
Rob, you want to stay here?
I've been wanting to go even before I learned who Israel is, and I used to think I wanted to go to South America, but it's not gonna be any prettier there. No, I want to go with y'all for sure. I don't want to stay.
See, those who have eyes to see, who God has given eyes to see and ears to hear, know what's happening. And many Gentiles, you all want to make it racial. You all want to say, go back to Africa. Well, we leaving. It's just a matter of time. And you all going to give us all the gold and the silver, even though you don't want to. We know that. But God is going to make you do it. And some of y'all are going to be like, are you a Yehudi? Yeah, we're going with you. And some of us are going to say, nah, you can't hang with me. Others are going to say, okay, come along. But some of y'all, you KKK members, you right-wing evangelical racists, good luck. So, family, we're going to start shutting it down. Any final comments?
I just want to say I love you all, Israel. Y'all are my family. And peace and love. And love you too, Minister Yacoba, Minister Teo. And that's it. All right.
Love you too, Rob. Thanks for coming on. Brother Asa.
I'd say Minister Yacoba, Brother Rob, and family, we're going to see each other very, very soon. You put up some wine, because I'm coming over for some wine in the promised land.
Good. Sister Shay, any final comments? Karis, any final comments?
Yeah, it was a pleasure to see that today. We're getting a lot of attention. and the thing is, it's something, because and all the comments that were there, they can't say that we're liars, and that's the whole point. Listen, we know what's happening, we see what's happening, and I had made a comment earlier that the spiritual gap, that spiritual wall is actually hitting them. And I don't know if a lot of folks were feeling this like around Labor Day, man. And Labor Day, I was down. I was like, Lord, are you going to show something? Are you going to do something? Are you going to, move? But we have to understand that God, the Most High, Ahia, he does things in his order. And see, we have to understand we're not being punished. We're really not being judged, if you think about this. Because think about this. Financially, we're on the lowest of the low. Economically, lowest of the low. You know, demographically, a lot of us are still trying to fight to have jobs in their system that's crumbling. So, but we're still, as a people, as a community, we're still actually in there, and we're taking care of ourselves. And that was the whole thing with the body of believers in Acts. When they were tithing, they tithed amongst themselves. So that's what I plan on doing when my little bit of monies come on in. I'm going to tithe it amongst ourselves to our believers that's in need, because we all need that right now, especially during this time. So again, we're living in this right now. We're seeing this thing right now. And so that spiritual dam that was broken this week, you know, you want to know how that thing was revealed? It was revealed in the natural with Trump. So that's how the Most High works. It's not really going to be on us, because like I told you, we're past the 400-year season. Now we're in this judgment season. We're literally looking at the judgment getting ready, or actually unfolding. And now we just have to get ourselves spiritually ready to cut the umbilical cord and get on out of here.
Any final comments, Sister Shay? I saw you just there a moment ago. Any final comments, Sister Sheila?
No, just love you guys, and just looking forward to getting back in the land. And when we get there, I'm gonna be calling y'all names, so y'all better answer.
Yeah, we're gonna have a big party. Don't worry about that. All of the family, Tail family, we're gonna find each other. We're gonna have a big party.
Oh, we're gonna find, yes, we're gonna find one another. And just know, and I'm praying. I pray. I just want to say too, my prayer life has keeps anteing up, my prayer and my worship. But I pray for all of Israel all the time, fervently, and all believing Gentiles. I just cover y'all in prayer. So, just know I know everybody's praying, but I am praying and worshiping.
Yeah. Sister Shay, you back? Sister Shay. So what we want to say, or well, at least what I want to say, in my closing remark, is that we don't hate anybody, right? We don't have time to hate. Now, do we want judgment to fall on our enemies? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. If you're an enemy of ours, if you're an enemy of God, yes, we do want judgment to fall. We do. If you hit me over the head and you keep hitting me over the head and I don't have any power to do anything about it, I want God to make it stop, right? So if you keep killing me, shooting me in the streets, discriminating against me, doing all these things, yes, I want it to stop. Does that mean I hate you? No, it doesn't. Does that mean I call for judgment on you? Yes, because when a kid is bad, a kid needs to get spanked. Just like Israel did, Israel got spanked for 400 years. So you don't have to be in the midst of that if you repent and start making things right with Israel. But we know that's not going to happen, because the scripture says God would have healed Babylon, but she's not healed. Why is that? Because Babylon's heart's been hardened. Your heart has been hardened. You can't even hear what we're saying. Even when we prove to you that we're Israel, you can't hear it because your heart is hardened. There's nothing we can do about it, and that means judgment awaits you. So the best thing to do is to get the judgment over with so we could get out of here and go home, because that's what the scripture teaches. Look up and lift up your head, Israel, for your captivity draw it nigh. Thanks, family, for being on the panel discussion.